have some paper out, maybe some graph paper out,
Yep.
would be handy. So here's something we've not really looked at yet, but I figured I'd throw it at you. What if you had something like f of x 4 minus x plus 2 squared like this, and you were asked to graph this, okay? Do you know what form this is in as it currently?
Is that in standard form?
So standard form, maybe that's a good place to start. Standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c, and then vertex form is ax minus h squared plus k. The major difference is the parentheses.
Okay.
So this one is in sort of a disguised vertex form.
Okay.
Okay, now I call this kind of a rewrite step. The 4 is positive, but that negative goes with the parentheses. So another way to write this is negative x plus 2 squared plus 4, like that.
Okay.
Right? Is it clear how I?
Oh, you just moved the 4 to the other side.
Yeah, but it's a
Yeah.
small thing, but it's something that could trip you up if you haven't seen it before here. So let's have you find the vertex, the axis of symmetry. Let's have you do domain and range. And then we'll talk about how to graph this one. So you give me those at any point here, whenever you're ready for those.
Okay. So the vertex is, wait, is it 4 and -2, right? It's the opposite, or is it the opposite of the first one?
The vertex over here, we'll put it on the right here. It's h
Oh,
comma k.
yeah.
So you gotta look what.
Yeah, you rewrote it. So it would be
Yes.
-2, 4, or 2, -4.
Well,
Yeah,
it is
-2, 4.
negative 2, 4. Yeah, that's got to be super clear. Like there can't be any hesitation on that. So you look at the part inside the parentheses, opposite of whatever it is, and then you bring this other number down.
Okay.
All right. How about axis of symmetry?
X equals -2.
That's right. And actually, before domain and range, I should ask you whether this has a min or a max. So let me do that here. Min or max, and that's based on whether it opens up or down.
It has a min or a max because it's opening down.
Okay,
Right?
so that's right. So it's a max because it opens down. So it could ask you like, does it open down or up, and then max or min. They're kind of all related. So domain and range.
Domain is all real numbers. Range is y is less than or equal to -2.
It's the y value. What's the y value?
Oh,
of
y
vertex?
is less than or equal to 4.
Yes. Good. Okay, so good start here. So I suggest a table for graphing. Do you remember what goes in the middle of the table?
Oh yeah, so the vertex.
Okay, so that's -2, 4.
Yep.
And then you pick two numbers smaller and two numbers larger.
Okay.
Let me rewrite it here. It's minus x plus 2 squared plus 4. So I want you to fill in the rest of the table for me.
Okay. Or I'm plugging 0, 0 plus 2, 2 squared, 4 times -4, -4, so then -4, 0, 0, 0. Playing -1, -1 plus 2 is 1, 1 squared is 2, -1 plus 4 is 3. So would it be 0, 3, 4, 3, 0?
Sorry, give me the next one for -3. I didn't realize you were
3.
gonna have that. That is correct. And then yeah, by symmetry, it looks like that. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So from the table, can you tell me the y-intercept? This is maybe
When
something
x
new.
is 0, y is 0.
That's
So
right.
0.
So it goes through 0, 0. And can you tell me the x-intercepts from the table?
-4 and 0.
So you might write them as -4 comma 0 and then 0 comma 0.
Yep.
Great. Okay. Let me do another one. It's actually, well, let me do it this way. So let's see here. Let's go y equals 1/2. Yeah, we'll do 1/2. X minus 1 squared minus 8. Okay, so kind of the same thing here.
Okay.
Vertex, axis of symmetry. What did we say? Min, max, up, down, domain range. And then the other things would be like the table, which leads to the graph. And then we'll go
Okay.
from there. So do as much as this as you can. If you have questions, let me know. It may also be good for us to actually list some transformations here first.
Okay.
Maybe we
So,
should do that first.
okay. So it opens upwards.
That's true. So the transformations,
Oh,
maybe,
yeah, yeah. So
maybe
it's like a vertical stretch of 2, or a vertical
this one is a
shrink of
compress.
1/2,
Yeah,
by a factor of 1/2.
okay. Compress shrink, good. But that's the second one. You actually have to do the one inside parentheses first.
Shifts to the left because no, shifts to the right, so it's the opposite of
Right
1.
one. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. And then what's the last one? What's the -8?
It goes down 8 on the
Down
graph,
8.
so
Good.
like on the y-intercept.
Right. And then there's some other things that's kind of related to 3. Does it open up or down?
Okay.
Can you tell me that based on this number out in front?
It will open up because it's positive.
Okay, up, good. All right. Okay, go ahead with the rest of this, please.
Okay. So the vertex is 1, -8, I believe. The axis of symmetry is x equals 1. It has a min of -8. Yeah, has a min of -8. The domain equals all real numbers, and the range equals y is greater than or equal to -8. And then the table, so then x and y. So then the vertex was, what was it was 1, -8. -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. -8. So then plug 0 in. 0 minus 1 squared is -1 squared is 1. So 1/2 minus 8 is -7/2 for the 0. Oh, sorry. Yeah, -7.5, not 7/2. -7.5. And then plug in. Oh, then it's the same for 2.
So what just a quick thing here. I would probably not use this point. We talked about that yesterday. I mean, it's good to have in your table, but you probably like the 1/2, this 2 tells you that you're going to have to increment your table by 2.
Okay. Oh, so use
So
even numbers.
uh potentially, well, no, but potentially, because like when I say increment by 2, what I mean is you want to go to 3 and then 5 instead of 2 and 4. And that's because the number inside here, when you subtract 1, it becomes
Oh,
even.
will being even. Okay, okay.
Yeah, basically it's the number here after you're done squaring has to be divisible by 2 to make this nice.
Okay. And then, so for 5, actually for 3, wait, isn't 3 minus 7.5?
No. 2 is.
Oh, you removed 2. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say is like don't like once you see that, you really almost throw it out. The only thing with 0 is that it's the y-intercept, so you might find some value in keeping it, but
Yeah. Okay.
I would go to 3 and 5.
So then for 3, it's 2 squared is 4. Half of 4 is 2. 2 minus 8 is -6.
Okay. And that's
Mm,
for 3 or -1.
That's for 3 and -1.
Okay. And for 5?
5 minus 1, 4 squared, 16. Half 16 is 8. 0.
Okay, good. Excellent. Okay, so some more questions I could ask you. I could ask you for the y-intercept. What would the y-intercept be in this problem?
So when x is 0, so minus 7.5.
So keep in mind, it's really an ordered pair. It's got to be written as an ordered pair.
Okay, so 0, negative 7.5.
Yes. And x-intercept?
The x-intercept would be -2, 0, and 5, 0.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about some like these are all the problems I've done thus far have been pretty nice. Let's do another one here that's simpler, but we won't do all those things. We'll do a few different things here. So let me snip this in. I'm guessing this is the kind of practice you like doing, just kind of these rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
All right, so let me have you find the vertex first, please, for this.
Okay, so the vertex would be, since there's no number afterwards, so it would be 3, 0, right?
That's right. Okay. Now, does this one open up or down?
It opens, a 0 is, I'm gonna say up, because
So there's an unwritten 1 in front here.
so it would be down because
No,
it's,
no, that's positive. 1 is positive.
oh yeah, okay, so then I was right, it opens up.
Okay. So it does open up. Now, what is the min?
uh Min is the the 3, I
It's the
think.
y value of the
Oh, so then 0.
yes. So how are you? So I've noticed a little like I want to say confusion, but like it's either this or that, right? It's either 3 or 0. So how are you going to remember that before tomorrow?
So if it's positive, it opens up,
Right.
which means it'll have a minimum, and if it's negative, it opens down, which means it'll have a maximum.
That's right. But then if I ask what is the min or what is the max, it's the y value of the vertex. And my question really is like, how do you remember stuff that's important? How do you commit this stuff to memory?
Um, I just There's really no special way for me.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just suggest a few things. 3x5 cards are always good.
Okay, flashcards.
Um, Flashcards. You can always find a Quizlet on this stuff. You can have um, parent be involved and asking you these things. They got to obviously have some knowledge of what you're doing. It's frequency more than amount of time. So which means like doing it, tonight, tomorrow morning is better than doing a lot of time at one time. So these are because it's so easy to confuse. It's so easy for you to write 0 and your teacher can't give you partial credit. They
Okay.
can't say you can't like say, well, it was just the other number, but it's totally different. So Okay, now let me just reframe this and we'll look at two other questions here. And next one is what is the y-intercept?
So
And you said it earlier.
I'd have
What is,
to do the chart, right? Wait,
nope,
no,
nope. What does x have to equal for the y-intercept?
0.
Yes.
So then plug
So
in 0.
put 0 in for x.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
do that for
then
me.
0 minus 3, negative 3 squared is 9. So 0, 9.
So the y-intercept is 0, 9.
Yeah.
Now, similarly, I can ask, what is the x-intercept? And this is when y equals 0.
So 0 equals x minus 3 squared.
Yes,
So then take the square root, I think,
that's
for
right.
both sides. So then 0 equals x minus 3. So then x equals 3. So then
Yeah. Now
3 comma 0.
this is the first one where we've only had one x-intercept.
Okay.
And the reason is because at 3, it touches.
Okay.
Or bounces like that. So that's a possibility. That's something you might see. Okay, let's have you. Here's another one for you to look at. And after this problem, we'll switch to some standard form stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so here's a problem for you to look at. This time, again, I want you to find the vertex and the axis of symmetry. The we do this, the min, max. We'll start with that. And so go ahead and actually, no, we need to do transformations. I keep forgetting that. We really need to do transformations here. So
Okay. So start with the one inside the parentheses. So it moves right to
right to, okay.
It's a vertical stretch. Oh wait, no, it's a vertical
Yep,
shrink by a factor of 4.
it's a stretch. So when that number in front is greater than 1,
Oh, it doesn't
without the
matter about
sign,
the negative or the positive.
yeah, don't worry about that. That just tells you whether it's flips or not.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So then it's vertical stretch by a factor of 4. Moves up 4, but there's one before that, right?
This negative we gotta
Oh,
talk
yes, so
about.
it's reflected over the x-axis,
That's right.
and then it moves up 4.
Very good. Now, in terms of whether this opens up or down, what would you say?
It's negative, so it's going to open down.
Yes, so it's gonna open down. Does that mean it has a min or a max?
It means it has a max.
Good. Okay, so let's go to the left here. Let's have you find the vertex, axis of symmetry, and the min slash max.
So the vertex is 2, 4.
Okay, good.
And so then the axis of symmetry is x equals 2.
Okay, good. And you already said it's got a max. Now, what is the max?
Uh, so it's the highest, so it's 0 or 4. So it's the y-intercept. So y equals 4.
It's the y value of the vertex.
Yeah. So
Y value of the vertex.
y is less than or equal to 4.
You're giving me a range. I'm just asking what is the max, and it's y
Oh,
equals
it's
4,
equals 4.
or
Okay.
just 4. Yeah, anything like that.
Okay.
All right. Now from here, I can ask you for I'll just ask you for the range.
Okay. Y is less than or equal to 4.
Yes. So see how it's related to the max? And it's related
Yeah.
to the vertex, the y value of the vertex. Okay, great. All right, now let me grab the equation one more time, and I'm going to have you find the y-intercept. The y-intercept.
Okay. So that means plug 0 in for x.
Okay.
So then 0 minus 2 is -2. -2 squared is 4 times -4 is -16. Plus 4 is -12.
Okay. So yes, the -12, so you might give it as an ordered pair, 0 comma -12. How about the x-intercept? This one's a little bit harder. You have to set y equal to,
Y equal to 0. So
yeah,
then, so take the square root.
not yet, not yet. So, and I know you
Or
haven't seen this yet, so that's why I'm sort of not even sure if I should bring it up, but you subtract 4 from both sides.
oh yeah, because you need the parentheses to be
Yeah,
alone,
and I
right?
mean, you're going to see this here really soon, probably right after this quiz, but then you divide by -4, so you get 1 equals x minus 2 squared. You got to be really careful here. When you take a square root, it's plus or minus. So it's plus or minus square root of x minus 2 squared.
Okay.
So it's, and that's why I think this is kind of beyond what you're doing, but it's x minus 2 equals 1, x minus 2 equals -1.
Okay.
And then you solve it from here. You get x equals 3 and x equals 1. But I think that's upcoming. So we'll so I've got I found a really good quiz for standard form stuff. So I think we'll just look at the questions and we'll hit probably most of the things that you wanted to talk about here. This is usually the first thing that I ask students about when it's in standard form.
Okay. A equals -8, B equals 6, and C equals -2.
Okay, so let's extract a little bit more out of this. So with the -8, the negative means that it's going to open down.
Okay.
Okay, and it's and this A is the same as vertex form.
Okay.
Okay, the 8 tells you that it's a vertical stretch.
Okay. Because it's greater than 1.
Yeah. The B tells you something that's not all that useful. It depends on some signs of some other things. The C though tells you the y-intercept.
Okay.
So there's a lot you gain from just looking at it in standard form. All right. So these are the kinds of things you're going to want to get down or have awareness of. Let's look at a new problem though. Take a look at this one.
Okay.
Any
So then, open down
yes,
B and uh, is it just B?
it's just B. Now, since it opens down, that means it has a min or max.
Max.
Max. Okay. Now, what is the vertex when it's in this form? Do you remember the formulas for vertex?
So it's like negative B over 2A or
Okay.
negative A over 2B.
It's negative b over 2a. Yeah. And this is
Okay.
one of those things you got to have down perfect or it will not work, will not go well.
Okay. So then
So
B
what
is
is,
9. So then
well,
-9
be
over.
careful there. So this is why we're doing this. It's really
Oh,
zero
wait,
x
it's
plus
so it's
9.
the X. So there has to be so then there's no B.
Well, b is 0.
Yeah, so then 0 over. So then the vertex is 0 something.
Well, it's 0 over 2 times -4.
Yeah, but 0 divided by -8 is still 0.
Yes. Okay. So now to find the y value, what do you do with the y value to?
You plug 0 in.
Okay. So what is
So
the y
then
value for
so
vertex?
then 0. So then uh y equals 9.
Okay. Very good. Now, so the vertex is 0, 9. What is the max?
9.
9. Okay. How about the axis of symmetry? What is the axis of symmetry for this one?
X equals 0.
X equals 0. Good. Okay. Very good. Let's see if we can do a quick true false here on these. Excuse me, let me get this dumped in here, snipped in. Here we go. All right, take a look at these.
Okay. Number 4 is false, and number 5 is true.
Yes, very good. All right. So let's have you find the axis of symmetry for this problem here. So here's the axis of symmetry question.
Okay, and the axis of symmetry is the x value. So whatever
Of the
x is.
vertex. Yep.
So then -8 over -8 over 6.
Okay. Is that your final answer?
So then it would be -4 over 3.
Good.
-4/3.
Good.
Then that's the axis of symmetry.
That's the axis of symmetry. Yeah. All right. So here is another one for you. This one's to find the full vertex. It's a different problem here.
Okay. Find the coordinates of the vertex. So then let's do. So then -8 over 8. So then x equals -1, then plug -1 back in. So then -1 squared is 1 times 4 is 4 minus 8 minus 3. So then -7. So then it would be -1 comma -7.
Okay. Is this the max or the min?
That is the min because it's
'Cause it
positive.
opens up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the range?
Y is greater than or equal to -7.
Very good. Okay, let's have you graph one of these. We'll have you do, I don't know, we'll have you do this one. All right, so I'm just going to grade your graph on this. All I want you to do is try graphing this. I think it'd be good to make a table after you find the vertex, but that's up to you. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay. So then -b over 2a, and then -2/1 equals -1. Then x equals -1, -1. So 1 plus 2 plus 5, 8, -1, 8. The vertex. So then -1, 8.
What is your vertex?
-1, 8.
Okay, look at that one more time. There's a sign error there. If you're not writing the formulas, it's really important to do that.
So I did. So it's -b over 2a.
That's right. And
So
B
then
is, what's the value of B?
2.
-2.
Yeah, -2/1. So then.
No, it's negative of the B value.
Oh.
They're separate, and it's always good to substitute in parentheses like this.
Okay. So then it's 1, 8,
Okay.
0, -1.
What is the make sure you get the Y value of the vertex as well.
I got 8.
Try again, because you're
Oh
putting
wait, yeah,
one.
because so then 1 minus 2 is -1 plus 5 is 4. So then 1,
Okay.
4.
All right. So again, if it were me, I'd make a table
make
here,
the
1,
table.
4, and then fill in the rest of those points.
One, 4. Then plug in 0, so then 0 minus 0 plus 5 is 5. Then x is 0, y is 5. And then that's 5, so then x is 2, y is 5. Okay, and then x is 2, y is 5. So then it's kind of at the top of my graph, but
Give me the table
okay.
points. That's what's really important here is what's your what do you have in 0, -1, or 2 and 3?
Okay. So for 0, I got 5. Then I had my vertex, which is 1, 4. And then for 2, I had 5. And for -1, I got 8. And the same for.
Good. That's correct. I mean, assume you can graph it, can graph those points pretty reasonably.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Let's have you do one more of these vertex. I just want you to find the vertex of this one.
Okay.
Let me get it snipped in here. All right. Why don't you find the vertex for that, please, for me?
So then y, so then the vertex, then so negative of -6 is 6 over 6 equals 1. So then x equals 1. So then plug 1 in, so then it's 3 times 1 squared is 1, so then 3 minus 6 is -3 plus 4 is 1. So I got 1, 1 for my
Really good.
vertex.
Really good. Okay. All right. So new question here. Let me snip this in. All right, so it says, what are the x-intercepts of the graph of y equals -x² minus 6x plus 40? Right now, maybe you don't get multiple choice, but you don't actually have a way to do this currently. You will in a few. Well, I take that back. I suppose you might be able to factor this, but the y-intercept is when, I'm sorry, the x-intercept is when y is 0. So you're trying to figure out which of these pairs make this happen.
Okay.
And one of the things you could do, you kind of saw this, is if you were to factor out -1 from everything, you'd get x² plus 6x minus 40. Do you remember at all how to factor this?
Yeah, so then you would have to, so something has to add up to 40 to has to multiply to -40, but add
That's
up
right.
to 6x, so they're probably 6 away.
Yes.
Like 10 and 4.
10 and 4. So is it +10 or is it negative? +10 or +4, -10, -4? Which one?
So it would be -4 and +10.
Okay, so that's really close here. So if you remember, you set both of these equal to 0.
Yep. And
And then
then so then x equals 4, x equals -10.
you got it. All right. So in a much more simpler problem here, I want you to find the x-intercepts of this one on your own here.
Okay.
So just the x-intercepts.
Then factor out -1 minus 1 minus x squared minus 2x minus 3. And something has to add up to 3.
Multiply
Multiply to 3.
to,
So
to,
then,
to -3 there, because you factored a negative out of all of them, I hope. X squared.
yeah. So then it would be 1 or -1 and or -3 and 1.
Okay.
So then x squared minus 1 times x squared or times or not just x minus 1 and x or x plus 1 x minus 3.
Okay.
So then x equals -1 and then x equals 3.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's look at something slightly different. So I suppose they could give you some problems where they give you the graph here. And it's asking for the roots of the quadratic function. So roots refer to solutions or x-intercepts.
Yeah, so it would be 2 and 5, right?
2 and 5. Now, how many solutions does this have?
2.
It has 2. Yeah. All right. Now let's look at the next one here. And give me some feedback on this.
This one has 1 root or 1 solution, I think.
So the interesting thing is there's a couple ways to say it that's correct. It's got 1 repeated root. That's for sure. You may want to ask your teacher this one, how to answer that, because it really depends on the style of them. It only hits or touches in 1 spot, but it is considered a repeated root.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's have you do one quick back to vertex form and just have you fill in the information here, and then we'll move on to even, odd, neither. Give us one to try, please.
Okay. The vertex is 3, 2.
Okay.
Axis of symmetry is 3. X equals 3.
All right.
It opens up because it's positive, which means it has a minimum. And the value of the minimum is the y value, so 2.
Okay.
The y-intercept, so then when x is, so then plug in 0. 0 minus 3 is -3. -3 squared is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. So the x-intercept is 11. And the range is y is greater than or equal to 2.
Good. All right. I'd say you got it down. Any other quadratic questions before we move on to even or odd?
Nope.
Okay. So I found this, and I think it's really nice, this graphical thing that they're going to show you here. This is the simplest way to explain even and odd. So even functions have a graph that is symmetric with respect to the y-axis. The y-axis acts like a mirror. Basically, the left side has to look like the right side, and it can slide up or down, but it's got to be the same on both sides. The odd's a little bit harder. It's symmetric with respect to the origin, which is 0, 0. And the idea again is if you were to spin, really rotate is probably a better word there, but if you rotate about the origin, you should see the same thing. And we talked about the idea of it being quadrant 1 and quadrant 3, or quadrant 2 and quadrant 4, like that. So that's your basic definition. Then we talked about, I'm just throwing this in your notes because rather than me rewriting it, Then there's the algebraic test. And let's look at that here.
Isn't that like the line of symmetry test, or so if it only passes through the graph once, like
You're talking about the vertical line test for
oh
whether it's a
yeah.
function or not. And so before you can even talk about whether something is even or odd, it has to be a function.
Oh, okay.
So it already is assumed to pass that. So I'm just throwing this in the notes. We looked at this the other day. Basically, you got to test f of minus x and see if it looks like the original, then factor out a -1 and see if it then looks like the original. So let's look at some problems here. Let's look at this one here, and I want you to tell me if it is even or odd. See if you can remember the steps from the other day, or I guess it was yesterday.
Okay, so if it's even, I remember the odd one. You have to like factor out a -1.
You start by putting in minus x in for x.
Oh, okay. So then replace all the x's with a -1
Negative
or
x.
negative x. So then it would be, and then if it's the same, so then x squared plus 3x plus 4.
So
So
is this
then
the same as
it's
the original?
no, so it's either odd or neither.
So you
So then,
factor out a -1.
yep. So then negative x squared. So then it has to be neither because that's not the same either.
That's right. You can stop there once you've done that. Good. Okay. Here is another one for you to look at. Maybe try this one on your own. So same thing. Tell me if it's even, odd, or neither.
So then negative. So then substitute negative x. So f of negative x equals negative x squared. So negative x squared is x. So then be negative x squared plus 10. So it's even.
This one is even. Yes. Very good. All right. How about, let's look at another one here. So this one's going to be maybe this isn't fair to do. Yeah, I'll come back to that. How about this one right here? Even, odd, or neither.
That looks like it's gonna be odd or neither. So then
Well, you've got to go through the steps. Like you can't
yeah.
try to look at it and decide.
So then replace x with negative x. So then
Yes.
negative x cubed is still negative x minus 4x, and that's not the same.
Okay. I
So
agree.
then it has to be either odd or neither. So then I'll factor out -1. So then -1 would be x squared or x cubed plus 4x. So then it would be odd, an odd function.
Okay. Very good. Now we've not looked at any examples like this, but I mean this is certainly reasonable. I think in your class to look at the absolute value function like this. Do you
Okay.
remember what it looks like graphically?
It's a v.
It's a V through the origin.
Yeah.
And like we start off by looking at these graphically. Is this even or odd or neither, just looking at the graph?
Even.
It is even, yeah. So how about something a little bit harder? What if it's 2 minus absolute value of x? So what this does is it transforms the V. It flips it, the negative will flip it, and the 2 is to go up 2.
Okay.
So instead of starting here, it goes up 2, and then you got the V again. Is this even?
Yes.
It is. Yeah. So sometimes you have to do, sometimes you can't just put minus x in, you have to do some graphing to be able to answer that. All right. Another kind of graphing exercise here. Let's see here. Which is even, which is odd, and which is neither in this one?
So the odd one is number 1.
Okay.
The even is number 3.
Okay, I agree.
And then neither is number 2.
Very good. All right, let's see what else we got here. Why didn't that search for that? Just trying to see what else possibly. Okay, here's another graphical one here. And the last one got cut off, so I need to draw it in, but let me do that. Let me snip this in. Last one got a little bit cut off, so let me keep drawing it. All right. Okay. Is there one here that is even? And just to be
No.
clear, 8 goes on forever. Like it does do that. And then it does this as well.
Oh, then number 8 looks like it'll be even.
It is even, yeah.
Okay. Then number 7 looks like neither, and then number 9 looks like odd. Because if you flip the first and the third quadrant, they look like they're gonna, or you rotate it, it's gonna be the
Yeah,
same.
there's a little bit of deception here because I don't actually, now that I look at it, I don't like the problem as much, but 7, if 7 just maybe you just focused on that red part and you saw that it rotated around here.
Oh, so then
7
is odd.
7 is odd. The problem with 9 is that this line right here really should be this line right there.
Oh, I thought if you flipped, oh, you have to do,
It's a rotation.
okay.
Yeah. So the last kind of thing that I guess your teacher could do, which would be, I mean, really a challenging thing, is to give you a graph, but just give you like part of it and say, like, let's say the graph looked like this, and they said it's odd. I should have done that in a different color, but let's say it was odd. You would have to know to draw something like that.
Okay.
And if it was even, you would have to know to draw something like that.
Okay.
But I mean, we've really covered like everything.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be shocked if there was something